Alright travelers, today we're diving into something a lot of you have been asking about, Dahlia's best weapons in Genshin Impact. If you've recently pulled this elegant 4-star sword user and are wondering how to bring out her full potential, you're in the right place. Dahlia isn't the kind of character you throw a high 80k sword on and call it a day. Nope, she shines the most when equipped with the right supportive gear. So if you want her to truly complement your team, the weapon choice really matters. In this video, we're ranking the best swords you can equip on Dahlia, from easy to get options to top tier 5 stars. Yes, even if she's a 4-star herself. We're talking about energy recharge, healing boosts, team buffs, and all the little details that make her feel more valuable in co-op and Spiral Abyss. Whether you're running her in a freeze comp or just love her aesthetic, we've got the right picks for you. Let's break it all down and find out which sword truly makes Dahlia bloom. I'm quickly
Very small portion of the audience
Before we
is
start,
subscribed to
if
the
you
channel.
enjoy these types of list videos,
Don't forget to subscribe if you like these types of videos.
Enjoy watching.
Thanks.
Skyward Blade might look shiny and impressive at first glance, especially with its high base attack and energy recharge sub-stat. For many characters in Genshin Impact, that alone can make it a solid choice. But when it comes to Dahlia, things are a little more complicated. Sure, the energy recharge is nice, especially if you're trying to get her elemental burst back as quickly as possible. However, the rest of the weapon's effects do not really align with what Dahlia needs in a fight. The passive ability of Skyward Blade boosts critical rate slightly and gives a temporary buff after using an elemental burst. Things like increased movement speed, attack speed, and a bit of bonus damage on normal and charged attacks. Sounds good on paper, right? But here's the thing, Dahlia is not a character who thrives on basic attacks. Her kit leans more into supporting through elemental application and utility, not speed buffs or extra normal attack damage. So while the weapon's passive looks flashy, it is not really doing much for her actual gameplay style. Now, if you already have Skyward Blade and nothing else, it can work as a temporary option just for the energy recharge. But honestly, there are several 4-star swords that might even be better. Weapons like Fluv Sondra Fairying, Skyrider Sword, and Festering Desire all provide strong energy recharge bonuses without overloading her with irrelevant stats. In short, unless you are just using what you have lying around, you might want to save Skyward Blade for someone who can actually make use of those attack speed boosts and stick with more tailored support options for Dahlia. The Dockhand Assistant is an interesting weapon to look at for Dahlia in Genshin Impact, mainly because of one thing, that juicy 41.3% HP bonus. Dahlia's kit scales off max HP, especially if you want to get the most out of his 4th Ascension passive. So, reaching around 40,000 max HP is a goal worth chasing, and this sword can definitely help with that. That alone makes it a decent stat stick, even if the rest of the weapon does not really mesh with how Dahlia is meant to be played. Now, when it comes to the weapon's passive, it is a bit of a mismatch. The Dockhand's Assistant is all about building and consuming stoics and symbols through healing interactions, which then grant elemental mastery and energy after being consumed. This is perfect for characters who heal frequently and want to boost their reaction or recharge faster. But Dahlia does not heal, and he is not exactly built around reaction-based damage either. So even if you have this weapon at Refinement Rank 5, the passive part of it is basically wasted on him. Still, if you are trying to build a high HP Dahlia and do not have access to a 5-star weapon or something like the Sapwood Blade, the Dockhand's Assistant can serve as a solid stat boosting option. It is not ideal, but it does push you closer to that 40,000 HP mark without needing insane artifact substats. Just do not expect any game-changing synergy from the passive. It is there, but Dahlia is going to ignore it completely. The Favonius sword might not look impressive at first glance due to its low base attack, but for a character like Dahlia, that is not really a problem. Since Dahlia's abilities scale with his max HP rather than attack, the weapon's lower offensive power is easy to overlook. What really matters here is the massive 61.3% energy recharge it offers, a stat that Dahlia absolutely loves, especially if you are trying to keep his elemental burst on a short cooldown. The passive effect is another bonus that makes Favonius sword worth considering. At Refinement Rank 5, every time Dahlia scores a critical hit, there is a 100% chance to generate energy particles. That means more burst uptime, not just for Dahlia, but potentially for the whole team. Of course, you will need a bit of critical rate to reliably trigger the passive, but even a small amount is usually enough to keep the particles flowing in longer fights. While Favonius sword might not boost Dahlia's damage directly, it does help him fulfill his supportive role more efficiently. Sacrificial Sword is a classic pick for support characters in Genshin Impact, and it works surprisingly well for Dahlia too. With 61.3% energy recharge as its secondary stat, it instantly helps with one of Dahlia's biggest needs, getting his elemental burst back quickly. Since his kit revolves around consistent uptime of his burst to support the team, anything that speeds that process up is a welcome addition. The real standout here is the weapon's passive effect. After hitting an enemy with an elemental skill, there is a high chance the skill's cooldown will reset instantly. For Dahlia, even if his elemental skill is not his most powerful tool, the ability to cast it again right away means double the energy particles. More particles lead to faster burst uptime, not just for Dahlia, but for the whole team if you are managing energy rotations carefully. And at refinement rank 5, the 80% chance is pretty reliable, especially in longer fights. If you are running Dahlia as a pure support or sub DPS and you are focusing on consistent burst availability, Sacrificial Sword is easily one of the best 4-star choices. It may not boost his damage or scale with HP, but it plays right into his strengths as a burst-reliant character. It is a simple but highly effective weapon that keeps your team running smoothly. Key of Nissa is a fascinating choice for Dahlia, mainly because of how much it boosts his max HP. With a base stat of 66.2% HP and an additional 20% HP increase from its effect, this weapon can push Dahlia's health well beyond 80% total. Since Dahlia's kit scales heavily with max HP, this makes a huge difference in how much damage and healing potential he can bring to the team. Plus, having such a high HP pool can free up artifact slots for energy recharge or other useful stats. The weapon's unique effect, called Grand Hymn, increases elemental mastery based on Dahlia's max HP when he hits enemies with his elemental skill. This effect stacks up to 3 times and even buffs nearby party members' elemental mastery. Sounds cool, right? But here's the catch. Dahlia doesn't really rely on elemental mastery for his damage or support, so while the effect looks strong on paper, it's not something that actually benefits his gameplay much. At the end of the day, Key of Nissa is a solid stat stick for boosting Dahlia's HP, which is the main stat he cares about. It doesn't have perfect synergy with his kit, especially since it doesn't increase energy recharge or other vital stats. But if you want to maximize his health pool for survivability and scaling, this weapon definitely helps. Just don't expect it to revolutionize his elemental skill or team support beyond that. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.